This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey there, fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Shireen.
I thought you were going to say you were Megan.
I thought about it.
I'm Megan. What up?
What up?
Hey.
And it is I don't even know. What's the date?
Wow,
what week are we?
We're mid-May.
Yeah, it's mid-May.
Mid-May.
It's gonna be May. I made
already.
that joke already. Oh my god.
Ew.
And you know what?
Twice.
Actually, I made that joke that week,
yes.
And I mentioned that I had made the joke with my team, and they were all like, "You're super lame."
Yes.
And then on the Monday, one of my team members came to me and was like, "By the way, I listened to your podcast on the weekend, and I appreciate the shout out." And she's like, "And yes, we did think you were very lame."
Wow, rude.
I'm like, "Wow, okay, but thank you for listening."
Seriously. I don't know how to feel about this. Oh.
So if you're listening again, thanks, and hey.
And in that vein, oh my god, thank fuck, it's sunny outside,
oh
guys.
My god, it has been the longest winter I have ever experienced in this country.
It's been real
and
bad.
I have lived here my whole life, bar a few years.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been, as somebody who has lived here for my entire life,
it
has been pretty terrible. And I'm so very grateful, one, that we officially seem to be headed towards the summer season,
Yay.
and two, that we have new, fun romance to kick off that fucking season. We got, Devil Wears Prada was like, oh, here's your, chick flicky.
Yeah, but that was, your
thing.
Dose of nostalgia, kind of.
You know, and, something, fun and easy. And now with... today with talking about the off-campus series that dropped on Prime on the 13th of May, we're getting the opportunity to kick off. That's it, a fun, a fun, romance that just sort of feels like it fits right with this time of year.
I don't know. I'm going to have to rebuff you on this one because a hockey romance, it's come on, guys. That's a winter sport.
It is.
This should have been keeping me cozy in,
but
February.
I didn't feel that way at all.
I mean, they did a good job of it. We were along for the ride. We'll get into it, but there will be a few other summer romancy things coming up over the next few weeks and
seriously.
months. And we know, if you've listened to our podcast for long enough, you know that we're quite big on the little summer romances.
Yeah, well, because it just makes things more enjoyable.
Yeah. And lighthearted for the summer.
Exactly. This was kind of this was fun to go into, and it's been kind of fun to have this happen regularly, right? Where when we have a new adaptation that comes out, very often only one of us has read the book.
True.
In some capacity.
True.
So one of us has a lot of knowledge about something and the other person's just going in blind. So you get a different kind of organic reaction to something than somebody who has read the series.
Yeah, because then and it's always interesting. I love it that we're doing it this way this year, that one of us has usually read the book and then the other one hasn't. And it's happened before, pretty common that's been the case. But what's really nice is that one of us is just kind of I'm watching it and I'm here for it. And then the other one's like, oh yeah, well this is what happened in the book. And this is kind of different, and so I enjoy that perspective.
It's fun. Yeah. So we're going to do, we're only doing one episode about this because we didn't want to go too cuckoo nuts bananas with it, but we will, we're going to do a little bit of a recap, and then we will just kind of talk broad strokes, plot points, and everything of this first season, talk a little bit about certain Easter eggs and things to do with the series and what seems to be coming down the pipe and everything, and kind of get into it that way. So I guess just to give people a little bit of information for folks who are unaware, the off-campus book series was published between, so the four first books within the series, they're written by an author named Elle Kennedy, who I'm sure most people listening to this are aware of because she's very popular in the contemporary romance space. She has a lot of different series and she has been popular for a number of years. So the original off-campus series actually consisted of 4 books that follow 4 different love stories, as well as one published a number of years later. Original ones were published 2015 to 2016. And then the last book, which is a series of short stories a number of years later catching up with the characters, was published in 2021.
Okay.
As like a catch-up. Off Campus did so well that it created not 1, but 2 full spin-off series.
Wow.
Another one called Briar U, which consists of another 4 books published between 2018 and 2020.
Okay.
And then most recently, the Campus Diaries series, which is another spin-off that follows people's like next generation of children, essentially a number of years later, which consists of 3 books that were published between 2023 and 2025.
That's a lot of... She, like, pumps out a lot of books in a short time span.
This is a romance author thing.
I know, but, like, 2018 to 2020, she's got 4 books that came out. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, 2015 to 2016 were the original 4 off-campus books. So that's 2 a year.
That's crazy.
2 in 2015, 2 in 2016. So
I mean, hey, hats off to you, Elle Kennedy.
like, I don't know how romance authors do this, but you guys are like on another fucking level. Seriously, I see it so often. They publish like 2 books a year, and I'm
It's
like,
amazing.
How the fuck is this possible?
I know. And I feel like we could have a whole discussion about this. I'm having a whole thing now in my brain.
We definitely
All right,
could.
I'm writing this down.
Okay, write it down. So that's kind of overarchingly what the series itself, or what the breakdown of the series itself looks like. If we focus on off-campus specifically, what we're following is the story set at Briar University, which is a fictional university in Massachusetts, and it follows 4 different members of the hockey team at the university, and each individual book follows their love story with a different love interest, obviously, in each book, and how everything shakes out the way that contemporary romance does. So they've all got their different tropes. They've all, it's like some of them are fake dating, some of them are more of like an enemies to lovers thing, some of them are, I don't want to give away anything about really any of them, so I'm not going to get into too much detail with it, because each of them have their own like different things that they focus on trope-wise. Right. If we're talking about the first one, it's called The Deal. That's the first one. This is the main focus of this first season of the show, which follows Hannah and Garrett and their love story.
Oh, I've seen that book on the shelves everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm picturing it.
Hugely popular.
Yeah.
This particular book it follows Hannah and Garrett. It is what I say main tropes mostly are. It's fake dating is probably the biggest one.
There was a bit of enemies to lovers in the show.
Kind of, yeah. It's like a minor sort of enemies to lovers, or like sort of reluctant friends to lovers type of thing that happens throughout the course of it. And there's a bunch of other stuff too, but I would say those are the 2 main, I guess, more mainstreamy tropes of it. And each individual book has a different focus and a different story that it follows, but we still get to keep all the other characters around, obviously, throughout the course of the stories.
And I think that, like, as somebody who didn't read the books, and I know that, like, when we were watching, like, we had watched maybe 4 episodes each on our own, and then we watched 4 together.
Yeah.
You were kind of giving me a lot of information about the books as we were watching, but it really did feel like they did a great job of kind of knitting all the characters' stories together in this first season.
I agree.
And giving us a flavor of each character.
Well, so I really, it's funny because, I've seen this in the past week. I have seen multiple times. I have seen a bunch of people being like, oh my God, this was missing. This scene wasn't in there. A lot of them are very trivial. This scene didn't happen. That didn't happen. This is slightly different. Blah, 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 blah. And like you've got like a screenshot of a person who's put all this up and they look mad. And then their caption says, oh, I still loved it though. And I'm like, so are we mad, or are we okay with changes?
And like, I think that and I've had this thought before when we've recorded podcast episodes of things where we go into things where I'll be like Wuthering Heights, for example. I'll be like, I kind of like the movie. And then it's like, here are all the reasons why it wasn't great. And it's like, oh, actually, yeah, good point. But then it's like, I still kind of liked it, though. And so it makes you wonder, like, as we're creating content and talking about these things, we need to, like, toe the line between, like, trying to come up with content just for the sake of it and being a little not us.
No,
like,
I know what you're saying.
Just being negative and like, kind of filling in the time to then turn around and be like, oh, but I really loved it. It's like, but did you?
And we've had conversations previously with things like this, right? Where we've said, you know, at what point do we want an exact shot-for-shot adaptation? Because I am of the mind, and I could be wrong, and maybe I'm sure there are people who will disagree with this. My overall mindset is that if we were to get a literal shot-for-shot adaptation, people would say, oh, it's boring. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Well, that's how I would feel.
Yeah.
And like, also, you can't do a shot-for-shot adaptation of something, first of all, that came out in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, the masses would not be happy about some of the scenes, I would assume.
No, they would not. No, there were a couple of adjustments that were made for this one that I was like, that was clever.
Yeah. And then, you know, second of all, things that happen in books, and we've said this many times, there's an internal monologue that's giving additional context. And if you watch something on Passion Flicks that's like a shot for shot,
it's garbage.
It's garbage because you're missing all the additional context and like exposure.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And we laugh about that and talk about how terrible it is.
Well, yeah, because it's very flat.
Oh,
it's
horrible.
There's no depth to it.
Agreed, 100%. So this is such a good point.
Yeah.
Because it showcases exactly the sort of interesting hypocrisy that occurs a lot of the time from so many different angles, where people get so upset about things that are missing, characters that are different, circumstances that are different, changes of types of scenes, or whatever the case may be. And people get so fired up about it, when meanwhile, exactly what you were just saying, you know, if you were to when we get something like Passion Flicks, which is like, we're just going to take the book and we're going to put it on a screenplay page,
which
and
is
pretend
what they
that
do.
we did something with it. And then we watch it and we're like, oh my God, this is so bad.
So bad. Go watch Gabriel's Inferno and come back and tell me.
Go watch Gabriel's Inferno. Watch the one with the fucking mechanic. Oh my God.
Oh, what was that called?
I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But basically any of them.
Any of them,
right? So
I still need to finish watching that Brotherhood of the Sword Fighters, or whatever it was called.
Oh, Blood Dagger Brotherhood.
That's it. Blood Dagger Brotherhood.
They're vampires, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh, God. We got through one episode and we were like, ee! Oh, the wigs.
Oh, the wigs.
Oh, the wigs. Not good.
Not good.
Anyway, not what we're talking about. We were talking about off campus.
Yeah.
So, I'll give a blanket spoiler warning, just so that way, if you've not gotten a chance to watch the whole series yet, you have a chance to do so and then kind of come back and see. Or if you don't mind spoilers, hey, whatever, you're here.
Well, I mean, you all know that Shireen gives away spoilers and then turns around and says, I hate spoilers.
Yeah. It's fine. So I'll give a blanket spoiler warning. We can get into some more like general plot points and an overall summary of how the season kind of turned out, and talk through some of that stuff and kind of what we liked and maybe what we didn't like and what we're looking forward to, because it's already been renewed for season 2 prior to season 1 even premiering.
Wow.
Yep. So, you know, spoilers, everyone.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Me.
Okay, so that's it. So the first season of Off Campus follows Hannah Wells and Garrett Graham, who wind up kind of shoved together because they have a class together. Garrett is at risk of failing potentially because he's struggling with certain assignments. It's a philosophy class. Hannah is one of the only people in the class who's actually doing quite well at it. And so we wind up with a deal. That's the whole point of the name of the book as well, is that a deal is struck between the two of them, because Hannah is hopelessly infatuated with this guy Justin, who, as I mentioned in the show, is a fellow musician. She's a music major and Justin is a musician. In the book, Justin's a football player. So
oh right, yeah, well, he's insufferable in the show.
He is as well.
Oh, he's so annoying.
He is. He's a pretentious douche canoe. So
he is.
Yeah. And so the agreement that is reached between the two of them is that Hannah will tutor Garrett and help him pass the philosophy class so that he can stay on the hockey team, because he's already been pre-drafted by the Bruins, even prior to graduation, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know enough about hockey.
Apparently it is a thing that can
happen. Is it? Okay, yeah. You looked into it?
A little bit, and I don't understand all the nuance of it. I don't pretend to have any kind of expertise, but yes, technically I think this is something because the scouts will go to colleges and find people. So yes, technically there's possibility of this. Now, also Garrett's a Nepo baby, so that's like part of it as well. Yeah. But even within that too, he does still have the skill to have been drafted already. Right. So In exchange for Hannah helping Garrett with that, he will, because he's very popular, obviously, and all the ladies love him, and blah, 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 they decide to play the jealousy card, and he will basically pretend to be her boyfriend, essentially, to make this guy Justin jealous and help the two of them get together. Right. That is the agreement that is struck up between the two of them.
Yeah.
Very standard, like, fake dating trope stuff, honestly.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, and I could be wrong in my perception here, but there seems to be more of a, I don't know, more frequent showing of this kind of trope of, like, the man whore who, like, wants to sleep around like crazy, and then the girl who, like, changes his mind and now he's suddenly in a relationship.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I'm like, we're seeing this a lot these days, I find.
Maybe we're going through, like, a little bit of a...
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, this is not good. Like, let's not be, you know, teaching girls that, like, you know, I can change him.
I don't hate this series too much because I find overall it's not done in a way that is... Like, the guys aren't, like, these toxic, horrible, fucking atrocious human beings. You know, like, we've talked about when we've talked about After and all that stuff. Yeah. Like, Hardin's a terrible person.
Oh, God, he's awful. He is an awful, awful person.
Right,
yeah.
right. But I don't feel that way about Garrett or Dean or, you know.
No, and, like, I mean, it's a tough balance to strike, I think. And, like, with Garrett's character, they didn't make him look like he was sleeping around with, like, 25 different girls.
No, it's definitely
more... It was really just, like, one that he would hook up with sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of more obvious in the book that, like, it's a little more frequent. Although even so, it's true that it seems like his reputation, I think, precedes him more than what he's actually doing. Most of the time, he's hyper-focused on hockey. So, yeah, he, like, fools around, but it's not that much more than anyone else, really.
Right. Like, whereas, like,
Dean
is
like, the one.
He's really into, like, all of his different flavors of the month, you know?
100%. It's a flavor of the day, basically.
Right. But that's its own storyline,
exactly.
you know?
No, that's its own separate thing. Although we got so much of it in this first season. I was like, oh, wow.
Well, they had so much chemistry, the two actors.
Oh, my
How
goodness.
could we not?
Seriously. So, okay, broad strokes. Let me go through characters very, very quickly so we can talk about it. So, Hannah is played by Ella Bright. Garrett is played by Belmont Cameli. Allie, who is Hannah's best friend, is played by Mika Abdalla. Dean, who is another member of the hockey team, is played by Stephen Kalyn. John Tucker, who is one of the other 4 boys, basically, on the hockey team, is played by Jalen Thomas Brooks. Everybody who watches The Pit was like, hey, it's Mateo.
Yeah, I'm like, I know him.
John Logan, because there's 2 Johns, is played by Antonio Cipriano.
Oh, excellent hair.
Great fucking hair. Oh,
and
my
lovely
God.
Big eyes.
Beautiful eyes. Gorgeous. He's so cute. He
is. He's adorable.
He looks like he writes poetry. He's so cute.
Yeah, I know.
I love him.
But also, like, built.
Oh, yeah. But also, I'm a hockey player. So broad strokes, those are kind of like the most major focuses. There are tons of other characters who are introduced throughout the course of the episodes, and we will definitely talk about them as we go through.
Yep.
But that's your overarching plot. That's your overarching cast. That's it. All 4 of the books have a different focus. So the books in the original Off-Campus series are The Deal, who, as I said, Garrett and Hannah. The Mistake is Logan's book. That is actually book 2 in the series. Book 3 is The Score, which is Dean, and again, you're here for the spoilers, Allie's book, which is book 3, and we've already seen this happening through the season, so you know this.
Yep.
And then book 4 is Tucker's book. His is the last one. It's called The Goal.
Tucker. Okay, so Mateo?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they're the 4 original ones, and these are like, that's the sequence of the books for them. So what happens actually, like, throughout the course of the season, obviously, is that, of course, the fake dating turns into real dating because real feelings come to light because they're well suited to one another and they support each other and it's cute and all that stuff.
Yep.
And we also get different little sides of Easter eggs and indications of where we're going to be going with certain people's storylines leading into future seasons. So to exactly what we mentioned before, there's quite a bit that we get of beginnings of a relationship between Dean and Allie, who is Hannah's best friend, as I mentioned, she's a fucking ride or die. She's great. She's an acting major. She is super fun. She is dating this guy named Sean at the beginning of the book, but
like a wet weekend in August.
Yeah, he's so boring.
Yeah.
But wants to like do fun things and act like people who are actually in college, and you know, Sean's the most boring man on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And so they wind up breaking up, and they're an on again, off again couple anyway. They wind up breaking up for real, and once that does happen, it leads into the beginnings of what is at first just a physical relationship between her and Dean that then of course kind of, you know, transitions as time goes on, of course, and we'll see how that plays out later. We've already seen the beginnings of it.
Yeah, I know, you kept being like, oh wow, they're showing this now? Oh wow, they're really showing a lot already.
They're showing a lot already. So that's one other dynamic that we got. Think Heated Rivalry and the episode with Scott and Kip.
Yeah.
That you were like, oh.
Yeah, like a little spin-off episode where you're like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just that in our case with Off Campus, we will still probably be getting a full-fledged story for Dean and Allie, where Scott and Kip, you're going to see them, I get the feeling, in Heated Rivalry in episodes, but you will not see like their full book, for instance. Like, we've had it technically in the show. We just didn't get every single detail, but we got the beginnings of it, and we got where they wound up.
And, like, I was saying this to you, not that, like, I'm trying to compare one with the other, but
it's hard not to,
it's kind of hard not to, because they're both hockey romances, basically. But in Heated Rivalry, you know, the Scott and Kip storyline, it was like, oh, yeah, like, this is like an interesting spin-off episode, but I really want to get back to Shane and Ilya. Whereas with this show, I'm like watching these two and I'm like, you know what? I just want to skip forward to these two.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one. And I do think it's because the actors have very good chemistry.
They did, and they were just so cute together.
They were fun. It was a fun kind of development of an early start to a relationship, and it was like it had a lot of levels of sweetness to it. Yeah. And fun, and two characters who are written in a really great way because they're well suited to one another. So all of that stuff is fun. And then like that's it. We get all of they've been good at keeping, you know, some of the things that really make these characters, like, you know, the things that you remember about them when you're reading the books, right? Like Hannah's last name is Wells, and Garrett calls her Wellesley almost from the beginning of the time that they meet. So do most of the guys, because that's just like what she becomes known as. Oh my god,
it's so cute. And spoiler, when like at the end there where she goes into the locker room and she's like, why would you say that to me? And it's like, fix it now. And they're all like, sorry Wellesley, Wellesley. Like, it's super cute.
That's how they know her. And Dean calls Allie Cat. Yeah. And we do get that during the season. I was like, oh, he only uses it once, but I will tell you that is his nickname for her. Yeah. That's pretty consistent. And that's it. A lot of the stuff, I think the things that they did the best job with were the maintaining of the friendships that everyone has was great. Yeah. The representation overall of, again, trigger warnings for sexual assault, obviously, and also domestic abuse and violence against children. So, there's a lot, surprisingly, these are contemporary romances that still manage to maintain a lightheartedness while dealing with some very difficult subject matter.
I was thinking that when I was watching this, and, you know...
You're like, is this in the books?
Well, I mean, it more that I was, like, thinking, like, you know, between Garrett... Garrett.
Yes.
Garrett. Sorry, it's because his name's Garrett Graham, so I'm like, is his name Graham?
Is his name Graham? No, it's not.
No, between Garrett and Hannah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay? I have a lot of information swirling in my brain here. Between Garrett and Hannah, I'm like, between these two, like, you know, very young adults. Yeah. They've dealt with a lot.
They really have.
And so, like, it's, you know, it's very hard to go into a relationship, any relationship, with one side having that much baggage. But
let alone both.
Let alone both. But then on the flip side, if both sides don't have that much baggage, then there's like a lack of understanding on either side. Like, these are two of the arguably heaviest things that anybody could deal with, aside from like one side having like severe mental health issues and like suicidal thoughts and whatnot. That's it. You know, like these two sides are the heaviest, you know, subject matters that could come into a relationship from one side or the other. But if you just had like one side that had no idea, like, or any like level of understanding of what it means to deal with something that heavy, it may be hard to relate. However, on the flip side, Allie is very good at relating to Hannah. Yes. And like, I think that just shows her level of emotional intelligence.
Oh, definitely.
Of the character.
And it's funny because like, I think that she's a character who a lot of people who don't know her in the books would like to write off as like the dramatic one because she's a little bit dramatic. Well, that's what she's like.
I mean, she's a theater kid.
She's an acting major. That's what she's a theater kid. Of course she's dramatic.
Yeah.
That's how...
kind of par for the course.
Like, sort of expected, really.
Yeah.
So I think that there's an expectation for her to kind of be that way, but also be nothing else. But no, she does. She has a really great amount of emotional intelligence, to your point. And again, I won't give away any spoilers for future stuff with storylines between people. But yes, I will say there are reasons for it, for sure, that she would have that level of emotional intelligence and be able to kind of be that way with Hannah, be that way with Dean, and, with other people around her as well, for sure.
Yep. But I did enjoy the interactions between the characters in this show. Like, that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching a group of friends on screen, and, like, I kind of wanted to be... It's like, the show Friends from the 90s. You're like, oh, these are my friends. Like, I want to hang out with them kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did a really good job of having that dynamic in this show, because sometimes... when you watch these types of shows, you're just like the outsider looking in.
Yes.
But this one, they did a really good job of kind of inviting you in.
You feel like you're part of you feel like you're part of the experience and the story that's occurring. It's true. Yeah. So yeah, I will say that's it. Like a lot of the characters themselves are maintained in the sense that even ones that like, even if the characters are maybe different than the way that they're written in the books or whatever the case may be, you do still get a lot of them. Like I said, Justin is still someone who exists. Like that character is in the books. They've changed him so that, again, for this adaptation, you don't have too many different characters in too many different spaces, so it doesn't make that much sense. Making Justin a musician and not an athlete gives Hannah a reason to be around him on a regular basis, right? And it's difficult when you're doing that. Like, eventually, how many fucking characters do you want to introduce in this 8-episode series?
Well, I mean, that was the other thing. They kept kind of coming up with more characters, and you kept being like, oh, wow, okay, they're bringing this one in now. Oh, okay. And
I think my biggest things were mentions of characters that we got and Easter eggs that we got of certain characters. I mean, obviously, we meet people like Hunter, who you meet before the end of the series, who I was like, so Hunter is part of the spin-off Briar U series. He has his own book.
Okay.
His is one of the earlier ones. Anyway, he has his own book within that series and his own storyline, but he's already towards the end of the original off-campus books. He's there. He's a freshman, and he's come in, and he's learning, and he's part of the hockey team. He's one of the hockey players. So, again, same thing. So I'm wondering how many more of those we're going to get, but so far there have been mentions of other people. Like Dean's character, for instance, he does have an older brother named Nick, who's not really that important, but he has a younger sister named Summer, and Summer will also have her own book at some point, because she's also part of another spin-off series. So,
and like, I suppose one of my criticisms, so if I look at and again, I apologize to do this, but if I look at Heated Rivalry,
it's okay. I guarantee it's like what everybody's doing at this point.
Well, I'm just using it as like kind of a bit of a benchmark, because that was they did such a good job.
Because it's incredible. Show. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's just really good.
So good. But I suppose, you could take any other show, but I guess my question would be, or my comment, I don't know. When I was watching this one, we kind of had all this build up between Hannah and Garrett. Yeah. Garrett.
Yes, yeah,
sorry, I'm really struggling with his name. Because she calls him Graham. Anyway, there's this whole build up with them, and then it just kind of felt like it was like almost like a roller coaster where it's going tick 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 tick, and it just kind of goes boom.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, and it's like, okay, and I know that we had to fit in a lot of extra context and information about like, heavy subject matter and stuff, but it felt like them coming together was simply done via a montage.
There were little bits. I get what you're saying. There were certain parts that I'm like, it would have been nice for us to expand a little bit more.
I kind of wanted to savor the beginning of their relationship a bit more to get more anchored in their chemistry, because I felt like because they went the montage route and then they immediately flipped over to some of the other characters, I felt like it diluted the story.
I understand that. Because, I get what you mean. There was a little bit in that I was quite happy to have like this much Dean and Allie in the first season. I was like, I was not expecting this at all.
There was a lot. Well, it was almost turned into like so now it's like a 50-50 almost.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. And I wonder, and I don't think we have full confirmation yet. I think there's been an indication that Dean and Allie are actually going to be season 2 and not Logan.
Okay.
Because normally, if we go book order, Logan would be next. And can I just say, Easter eggy without getting too crazy with it, but also she's already been cast and it's been like announced everywhere.
Okay.
We have already heard the name of Logan's love interest.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're like just gonna go with a different format completely. Maybe. Because we have this tendency
but it's also
to expect them to follow the series.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, you know, like Bridgerton and Heated Rivalry. It's like, oh, okay, so the next season's gonna be about this couple.
But Bridgerton, they're not doing that.
No, I know, not necessarily. Well, I mean, not in order, but I suppose my point is maybe for this one, what they're just planning on doing is we're just gonna put everybody in the story, and we're just gonna keep flip flopping back and forth.
That makes sense to me because all these people are experiencing this shit around the same time.
Correct. Like, so you'd have to keep going backwards, forwards, upside down, and it's kind of like...
Especially there's certain overlap. I'm thinking off the top of my head of like the 4 books in this original series, and I'm like, there's like overlap between some things that happen in Dean's book and some things that happen in Tucker's book because they're happening at the same time.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, but if you do that in the show, then it's going to be like, wait, hang on.
Well, you're going to have to refilm like all the scenes almost from a different perspective, which they did do in this season with Dean and Allie, but it was only like half an episode.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe for this one, maybe they're just planning on just kind of piling everybody in together and then just exploring all the relationships that way.
Give me all the love.
I'm actually happier that way.
I love love.
I love love.
Give me all the love.
Any love is fine.
Yeah, you can give me all the sweet things of people falling in love with each other.
Yeah.
That's it. I like that we've gotten dynamics of 2 different couples that are forming. And like I said, and they've been clever about it because it was just like, whoop, out of nowhere. They were just like, they're like the raffle happens during the silent auction, happens. And they're doing like a raffle at the same time during this event, the charity event that they're working on at one point. And Dean is announcing people who have like won things, and he announces the winner of the raffle and he says Grace Ivers. And I was like,
yeah. Well, that's it. You were like, oh, where is she?
And I was like, do we see her?
Yeah.
No, not at all. But Grace is Logan's future, something or other. Yeah. So,
well, so this is it. So I appreciated that. Let's talk about Jules.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about characters that have been added. So the difference is that way. So Jules is a character who basically they run like a social media account that focuses on largely the hockey team at Briar, but it's also a bit of a gossip column to a degree.
For the hockey team.
Yes. So they run that. They are Logan's sibling.
Yeah.
So in the book, Logan has an older brother who's not in school. He's older and he has like a fiance and stuff like that, but he's not like his character's a bit inconsequential. He's not really there very much, and he doesn't necessarily change the story all that much. Particularly, he has bits and bobs, but it's not something that's like incredibly focused on. So it was an interesting dynamic to have Logan have a sibling in school at the same time as him. First of all, I was like, oh, okay. But then obviously there was an element of them trying to create a character who would help with exposition dumps.
Right.
I get the feeling was a large part of creating this character of Jules in the first place.
And I don't think it's necessarily wrong to have like a narrator character in this type of show because there's like a lot going on
happening and
but my beef, and I expressed this to you when we were watching it, was that when it's a narration character, sometimes you just kind of want them to like kind of fall into the background and be erased. I wanted to know more about Jules and like their story, but I felt like we didn't really get much about them.
We didn't get much about them except they like mess, and you're like,
and I'm like, okay, but like if you're gonna introduce this character, like, I feel like you need to expand on them a little bit. Yeah. Especially if you're...
I wonder if we're going to get more when we get more of Logan's story, perhaps, to a degree. Because, yes, they've had a difficult childhood. Yeah. That's that their mother is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Well, their father is an alcoholic in the book. Thank you very much.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. And he, owns a garage and stuff.
Oh,
he's
right.
like a mess of a human being. And Logan and his brother have been, dealing with it since they were kids and stuff. And his parents are divorced. It's, a whole thing. So they've decided to flip that around for the series and have it be a mom instead. So I am wondering if we're going to get a little bit more of that as time goes on, and perhaps with that we will get more of Jules and not have them be a smarmy exposition side character.
Yeah.
They feel a little bit gimmicky right now, I think, is the problem.
I think that's my issue. It's like, don't shoehorn in what could be an interesting character.
Yeah.
just for the sake of like putting a label on things.
I would kind of prefer, if anything, for them to be like a character who does act as an exposition dumper, but within doing so is providing like advice to characters and stuff. And which they're trying to do that between Jules and Logan to a degree.
Yeah.
Like have that be the case. Like they're trying to have them like work together and, you know, show him that it's not taking a handout from someone to do like an ad campaign and stuff like that, because he has a lot of strong feelings about finances and things because he grew up poor. So there's like a lot there that he's like kind of struggling with, I think, mentally.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to have that dynamic, but I don't think that it was incredibly well written.
No, I don't think so either. And like as we're talking about this, there's also that element of like there's always one character in every one of these shows who's struggling financially.
Yes.
Every single one of these shows, there's always one, and the rest of them are always rich, and it makes you just wonder like what the intent is of introducing these characters every single time. Yeah. You know, it's like, are you trying to give, you know, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but I have opinions.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah, it does always feel like it repeats itself and repeats itself to a degree.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, whatever. We've been given an idea of all of this stuff. We have been given an idea of what will maybe be coming down the line because, yes, again, also per book and series adaptation, Logan does develop kind of a crush on Hannah. And it is a little bit odd, obviously, because she is his best friend's girlfriend.
Yep.
And so it does cause not tension, because I will give Garrett, he is very cool about the whole thing, but it does add to a level of unease about stuff. And I believe that there's a line towards the end of the deal of the first book where Hannah has started to pick up on Logan looking at her for too long sometimes or acting a particular way. And she brings it up to Garrett because she's like, I don't know what to do about it. Like, I don't know how to feel about this. Should I be uncomfortable? And basically, Garrett, and I will give him, like, there is no jealousy here. He's just kind of like, he'll be okay. He'll get over it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but then at the same... Hang on a second. But then at the same time, like, that's uncomfortable for her.
It is, yeah. And like, there is, like, there's kind of a change to think. I don't know how they're going to do it for the show.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see kind of how that plays out because, you know, it's a lot of it is wanting the idea of something versus actually wanting some specific thing. It's more, I would say, based on that than anything else. And then it does take a little bit for that realization to occur.
I see.
And then when, you know, it does, there's been like a bit of a flub with some other stuff. So there's a lot of like back and forth that has to happen. I am curious. I'm looking forward to it. I like this version of Logan. Like overall, I like the guys. I feel like the guys have been pretty well cast, honestly. And I like Hannah and Allie. So I'm like real interested to see in the next seasons, like when we get Grace, when we get another one further down the line for Tucker. And stuff, kind of how that shakes out. But okay, so if we're closing things up a little bit.
I was just going to say the same thing. I think I know what you're going to say.
I was going to ask you for strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say.
Nice.
I was going to say, what were your 3 favorite things?
Yeah, or like, what were the biggest? Okay, so I'd say biggest strengths would probably be chemistry between the characters.
Yes.
Level of friendships between the characters, and overall handling of fairly sensitive topics. Yes,
I agree. I said to you when we were watching... like the last episode? Before our last episode, when Hannah's chain on her bike breaks.
Yes.
And she calls her parents. I said to you, like, if you've watched 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, yeah.
It's like seeing what, like, these 2 Hannahs.
Yes.
Both experienced
sexual assault
at the hands of a very popular and very wealthy jock. And... one story is one where the Hannah felt comfortable enough to go to her parents, and
another one she didn't.
And so, like, you see kind of the 2 fallouts and what happens on both sides.
Yeah, it's true.
So, like, I found it interesting to watch from that perspective. They did do a really good job of handling the difficult subject matter. Showing how it affected the characters. I agree with you. The chemistry between characters, even to like not just like the romantic chemistry, but also the friendship chemistry.
Correct. Hannah and Allie, I thought were great.
Oh, and also like Logan and Garrett.
Logan and Garrett. Oh yeah, Logan and Garrett. Like I would have that actually. I will say I would have liked to have seen a little more of it, but I did like all the moments that we did get. Because they're also just, it is a big highlight of the books that like the guys are very funny with each other. Yeah. And like it's, and especially as time goes on and they maintain their friendships and everything, that we get a lot of things in the books that are like the group chats between people, and they're so absurd with each other.
Well, I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving episode when
it was so cute.
Tucker's trying to cook for everybody and more people keep showing up. I'm like, oh, this is my actual worst nightmare.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. I know. And he's so like trying to be in charge of everything in the kitchen. You're like, oh no, sweet angel baby.
I know, it's so cute. Yeah. So yeah, no, I found those were the strengths. In terms of weaknesses, I think we've covered kind of our opinions, and if I go back to my earlier comment in the episode, I'm not going to trash this thing. Like, I think overall it was an enjoyable watch.
Honestly, yeah, I like, that's it. I'm comfortable having there be differences between the adaptation to a degree, obviously, as long as it doesn't change the entire plot line of the novel. Having there be differences between a book and an adaptation, especially of something like this, because I want a little bit of a surprise. I would 100%. Like a little bit of a change. I would like something interesting thrown in there that throws me off, like the last scene of the season and tension between Dean and Hunter. I was like, whoa, fuck, what the fuck is this? That was crazy. Yeah. That was very surprising. No, that does not happen in the book. Hunter and Dean get along swimmingly in the book, and Dean's quite the mentor to him. So I feel like maybe we will get there. Yeah. But I'm very curious to understand what that point of contention is and if it has something to do with Summer.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it is mentioned that they went to high school together, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So very, very, very curious to see how that shakes out.
Sounds good.
Yep. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't take like a whole year for us to get another season. I'm kind of hoping that like by end of this year, early next year, we kind of get another one so we don't have to wait too long in between. That'd be lovely.
Lovely jubbly.
Get on that shit, Prime. Move it along, Amazon. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, but like let us know, in comments and everything, did you like the adaptation? Did you not? Were there like very specific instances or scenes that you really wanted to see that you didn't get a chance to see? And then also for future seasons, what are you looking forward to? Do you want Dean and Allie to be season 2? Would you rather that we stick with Logan and kind of let him work through all his shit with like his crush on Hannah and kind of like everything else that'll come down the pipe? And do you have any predictions for other characters that we're going to meet in the second season too that might be pre-introduced? Because if we're getting them now, I can only imagine that's going to continue down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I vote for that.
It'd be interesting. I'm curious to see how that shakes out.
Totally.
Anyway, let us know. You can check out, obviously, all of our socials. We're at fullybookedca everywhere. You can also check out the website, as per usual, at fullybooked.ca. We have reviews. We have recommendations. We have all the things. We have all the episodes archived there. We have all the things that you could possibly want in one place. You're welcome. And next week, we're going to be coming at you to finish up our coverage of Margot's Got Money Troubles. So that'll be great. And then we'll be talking about some other kind of like recommendations and stuff, I think, heading into summer with all the different types of stuff that you can be reading throughout the summer season. So that'll be fun. Yeah. But until next time, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.
Brought to you by the Capital One Savor Card. With Savor, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Savor Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.